Welcome to today's tutorial. We will be creating this lovely but fake stitches. So what you're going to need is some beading thread, or just some regular thread would do as well. And what you're going to do is start to cut out some pieces. I like to make them a little bit bigger so that they're easier to tie, but it's total preference. So you're just going to create one small knot, and you want to try and get it in the center. You're going to be cutting them later, so no worries if they're super long right now. You want to leave a little bit of that knot there just because you don't want it to be super tight so that you can't even see it. If you can do a double knot, do a double knot, but do as many of these as you would like, depending on how long your actual wound is that you're creating the stitches for. This next product I use in so many of my tutorials. It is a great product. It is the Nye Flesh Effects Gel. It's a gel consistency that's originally hard. You put it in warm water just like this until it gets to a liquid. You have to be very careful that it's not too hot before you put it on, but it's a great product. It becomes quite a gel liquid consistency as you see here. Of course, be careful of how hot it is, especially if you're putting it on a sensitive place like this. You could use a spatula to take it out of the bottle and put it on, or you can just pour it out just like I did. I thought it made a nice line, seemed easier for me. So it does return to a solid form, so you want to work quickly. Here you can see I'm just using a spatula just to blend those lines a little bit into the skin. You don't have to do this, this is optional, it just makes it look a little bit more realistic. Next, you want to create the actual slit of where the cut is going. Make sure not to use something too sharp. Of course, your skin is still under there. So you just want to create that line. I happen to use the other end of the spatula. You can use a toothpick. Again, you want to work quickly because if it's dried, it's a little bit harder to work with. Next, we're going to use this RCMA No Color powder. You can use any translucent powder that you have. And you just want to blot this on top of where we put that gel effects, mainly to take away the shine so it's not super shiny. That way it looks a little bit more realistic. This next step is optional because you are going to be going on top of the cut with many other things, so it's not totally necessary, but I chose to go on with the foundation color just to make it look a little bit more realistic. Again, totally optional, but I chose to do that just so it looks a little bit more the same flesh tone. This next product is one of my absolute favorites. I use it all the time. This is the Nye Quad, and this is the Bruise and Abrasion wheel. If you do not want to purchase this, feel free to use any lipsticks or paints or anything to mimic these similar colors. Now, just using a small paintbrush from Michaels, I'm just placing the lightest red that I have inside the cuts. You want to do this color first. This is kind of the fresh blood. We'll be doing different shades of red just to show the different depths of the actual cut itself as well. Next, you'll see me going in with a little bit more of the shades on the quad. I really just want to use a cosmetic sponge here, that triangle sponge, using the darker shades, also the yellow, just to create more of a messy look. This would be a little bit more infected, a little red around it. It wouldn't be a perfect slice like that. So that's what I wanted to do here, is just create a little bit more dimension by adding those few shades. Next, I'm going with the darkest shade from that quad in just a few places on the cut just to give it a little bit more depth, and this would be more of the dried blood area that's been there a little while. Again, this just gives it a little bit more character. It shouldn't be perfect. This is a messy, messy cut. Next, I'm going in with some blood, of course. This is stage blood from Mehron, but you can use any blood that works for you. I wanted one that wasn't super, super liquidy, so I'm just using this with a cosmetics triangle sponge just to really blend it out across the entire cut. Again, just to make it look a little more messy. This would not be a clean cut. And just do as much blood as you want. This is total preference. I didn't want too much yet. Next, I'm going in with the latex. This is Aid Adhesive, but you could use spirit gum. You could also use eyelash glue. That works as well. Once it gets a little tacky, now we're going back to the actual stitches that we created in the beginning and just place them wherever you'd like. Stitches would not be super clean, especially for a look like this when it's a little ragged, so they can all be going different ways. They don't have to be perfectly in line. They could all be going all over the place, but cut them down to size. I know in the beginning we made them a little bit larger. Cut them down to your preference. You can make them really tiny if you want, but this is, again, totally customizable. Now I wanted a little more blood, so I went in with Nye Scab Blood. This is like a thick, coagulated, disgusting blood. And I'm just taking that paintbrush from earlier and just placing this just a few places. It really is like a jelly consistency, so you really have to plop it down. It really does stay in place. It's not liquidy at all. So this is really, we would only use this in certain places. So you can see it's a little hard to get off of the brush actually. It just gives it that extra level of effect and I absolutely love it. Lastly, I'm going in with this Clown White. This is just a regular cream paint, and I'm going to be placing this just in the high points of the cut, just so it gives it, again, a little bit more dimension. You're going to just buff it out, and now we have the final product. I hope that you guys liked this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe if you aren't already. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you in my next tutorial. Bye, guys.